AITA for refusing to pick up a kid from elementary school. I am a mom to 2 sons, one aged 6 and the other aged 8. They both attend the same elementary, so pick up and drop off is easy for me. I'm married, so I am mostly a stay-at-home mom aside from a part-time job I have teaching kids piano. Recently, my older son has become quite good friends with another kid in his class. He wanted to have a play date with him, so I got in touch with his mom to organize it. I managed to meet the kid's mom, and she seemed pretty responsible from my impression. The week after the play date, I was picking up my 2 sons from school, and my eldest had brought his friend with him. I asked him where was his mom, and he told me that she told him to just go with Daniel, my son's name. Obviously, this was wildly irresponsible from her part, so I called her but went straight to voicemail. Obviously, I wasn't going to leave this kid alone at the end of school, so after repeated attempts to contact her, I just took him with me home. She later contacted me around 2 hours after school finished, asked me where her kid was, and then came to collect him from my house. I asked her why the hell she had done that, and she was a single mom and couldn't pick him up in time due to her Pilates class. I was pissed as she had just used me for free childcare and assumed I had no responsibilities of my own. I told her not to do this again, or I would report it. A few days later, and you guess what? My eldest comes to the car with his friend. I asked him where his mom was again, and he told me she had instructed him to go with my son again. At this point, I got out the car with all the kids and went to the reception to tell them about the incident and left him there. I got a call after school from his mom, with her swearing and berating me, calling me every name in the book, saying that I had got her in trouble with the school. We got into an argument and I hung up. After this, she made a Facebook post about me calling me out and calling me a selfish asshole. I really don't know what to do and really want to know if I was the asshole. First comment? Kat, you actually could have gotten yourself in potential criminal jeopardy if you picked up an elementary school child from school after school and took him home with you and your child Ren without communication with the child's parent that indicated she'd asked you to, or that you had permission to do. Nat. Wet. Some people call this kidnapping. I thought you were going to tell us that the mom later called you terrified because she'd been unable to locate her child. He was supposed to ride the bus home that day or wait for her at school, and that she'd never asked you to take him home with you or given you permission to do so. She might have claimed her phone was off because it ran out of batteries or she left it in the car accidentally, so she hadn't seen the missed calls but just kept waiting for her kid to come home and he never did. This is one of many reasons why communications were and are so important. Sometimes little kids hatch plans together or assumed that they have permission to do something again that they were able to do before and enjoyed but without asking their parents or by banking on it being easier to ask forgiveness than permission. The fact is, adults who are parents are required to communicate with each other if they aren't the other kid's parent or legal guardian in order to confirm there is permission for you to pick that child up from school and take them home with you, no matter what the children themselves think or say. This parent put you and her own child in a very risky and very awkward and unpleasant no-win situation. How negligent and entitled can one be? You did the compassionate thing by how you handled this, but you did put yourself at legal risk the first time because you felt bad for her child and didn't want him to suffer. The second time, you did the right thing by yourself and the child by making sure the office knew what happened and you weren't just going to pick up someone else's child without a prior agreement or documentation of permission to do so. Plus, the child could be at risk in other ways if this is that parent's MO, so letting the office know was the right thing. I know this take is unlikely to be popular because few people like it when the matter of an op's potential legal exposure is raised. I have myself made what in retrospect were probably legally unwise decisions to help a child without first asking their parents' permission because like you, I just came up on a situation where their kid was in distress and they were nowhere to be found. In my situation, despite the fact that the other mom knew me and knew me to be well-meaning and to have helped her child when time was of the essence, she was very unsettled that I had taken matters into my own hands without her permission or prior arrangements. But instead of flaming me on Facebook, she wrote me a thank you note with a nice card and gave me a $300 gift card for helping her kid out of a tough, humiliating spot. I do know I am lucky though, and she could have easily accused me of wrongdoing simply for taking a school-age child without her permission. So I don't say this lightly. Sometimes we make decisions that are against our own best interests in order to help someone else's kid. You did the right thing every time, but you would not have been in awe to have taken the kid back to the office instead of taking him home that first time he showed up with your son without prior arrangements. Second comment, NTA, but honestly I would not have taken him the first time. My reason isn't even that she could be taking advantage of you. It's that you could be considered a kidnapper. I worked as a nanny at one point, and the kids told me that they had a play date and that the kid was coming with us. It was honestly just an innocent miscommunication, and I had the kid call his mom from my phone. It all worked out. If I hadn't received that confirmation from his mom or the mom I nannied for, there is absolutely no way I would take that kid. Mom honestly sounds like a mess. I'm one of those people who will light myself on fire to keep others warm, so if I talked to the mom beforehand, I would totally be willing to take the kid regularly. I would just require regular communication. However, her insane reaction to you would keep me away from her. I really feel for her, kiddo, but you can only do so much. Kudos to you for what you did do. Third comment. If this person had put a fraction of the time or energy she did to post her FB rant or arrange to schedule and timely attend her conflicting Pilates class, surely she had the time, and it was her responsibility as a parent of an elementary school-aged child to communicate regarding and arrange after-school transportation and supervision for her child. NTA. Date again. I'm just sorry that this woman's poor kid suffered the humiliation, disappointment, and likely stress and pain of having his mom set him up to impose on other people instead of making arrangements for an after-school play date or childcare for him, or scheduling her attending a Pilates class for some other time. It wasn't like her parent was in hospice, her car broke down, or she had a medical emergency. Now this kid's mom has flamed you, humiliated and likely vented to him, and possibly obstructed a healthy friendship her child would have otherwise likely been able to maintain with her kid. This is really super sad, and she is totally rude, presumptuous, irresponsible, narcissistic, and Fourth comment. 100% reply to her post. She clearly wrote it in a way that makes her look like a poor, helpless single mother who was attacked by monster mom. She chose to take this public. It's only fair you do so too. I'd tell you to ignore it if it wasn't causing you issues, but it is. Not to mention, it's better for the wider community BC if she would do it to you. After only one play date between your kids, she'll pull it on some other unsuspecting parent. Daniel's mom. I had zero intention of airing our grievances on social media for all to see. However, you have put me in the unfortunate position of feeling I need to lest you continue trying to drag my name through the mud. It's only fair that I reciprocate and help fill the missing gaps in your shared version. Our boys have become very good friends at school and had their very first outside of school playdate X days ago, which is the first time we as parents had met and spoken. A week later, when picking my children up from school, my son brought Daniel to my car. When I asked where you were, he said you told him to just go with my son. Obviously, I could not leave an 8-year alone after school, and you did not respond to any of my attempts to reach you. You did not try to contact me to ask if I would be able to pick him up, take him to my home babysit, nor think about the fact that I may have had other responsibilities to tend to. You finally contacted me 2 hours later asking where your son was and came to pick him up. What was the reason you left your 8-year-old son alone to find his own way home without a secured plan in place, a Pilates class? I told you not to do this again, and I told you I would report it if you did. Not even X days later, Daniel showed up at my car at the end of the day. Again, instructed by you to go home with me. I did exactly what I told you I would. You chose to disregard me. I'm just astounded that you would come on FB, as an adult nonetheless, talking about me being selfish when you chose a Pilates class over guaranteeing your son's safety and didn't spare a thought about any plans or obligations my family may have had,